This Chinese New Year, we have a brand new hero, Tussilago. And it has always been a tradition for Chinese New Year for the hero that comes out to be the strongest hero for that year. Way back ages ago, Faithblade came out in a meta that didn't even have enables, and in the 10-star meta, Faithblade was a dominating force. He would be able to one-shot heroes, regaining his energy, and then use another active skill that next turn, killing 2 more heroes, and then the next turn he'd gain more energy and kill 2 more. If he didn't kill them, he'd stun them. He was really oppressive and very powerful, and this was in a meta where control immunity wasn't really a thing, stun immunity was very rare, and a hero like Faithblade was just able to shine because Unbending Will was not around, so heroes were just dying in one hit. What happened a year later? Well, Ada came out. Ada was the quickest hero the game had seen. She was able to disrupt opponents by dealing damage to them for dealing just their normal active skills, which meant heroes were getting punished for using their active. And this was causing teams to be destroyed just because they themselves didn't have an Ada. So the team with an Ada was just doing so much more damage because the opponent was getting punished for using their active skill and they weren't. So it became a PvP meta where Ada just became compulsory for the PvP teams. And then we move a year later, we find Carry, a hero who is jokingly strong. She steals energy, which means heroes don't even get a chance to do an active skill. And not having an active skill sucks. Combine that with the fact that Carry comes back to life, and also she deals damage when she's down. She's a fantastic hero and is still viable in today's PvP meta. So when we knew there was a new light hero coming out for Chinese New Year, and the heroic summons was delayed, all in anticipation for this brand new hero, pretty much everyone had their money on this hero being a game changer. The question I'm asking today is, does Tussilago live up to her expectations? She is a light assassin, something we thought was going to be great, because Rogan synergizes great with assassins. However, at Christmas, we got Forkis, or Forces, whatever you guys like calling him, and he punishes heroes for gaining attribute buffs. So Rogan's gift of extra speed, of extra crit, of extra attack, all got completely punished by Forkis' active skill. And that means Forkis has brought a lot of disruption to the PvP meta. So what does Tussilago bring? Well, for a good PvP hero that dominates, look at Faithblade, look at Carry, look at Ada. They punish heroes for doing things. They punish and disrupt a team and stop it from doing what it wants to do. Carry steals energy. Faithblade was stunning opponents or just killing them outright. And Ada, she was punishing heroes for doing their active skills by making them take damage. So what we hope to see from Tussilago is the ability to disrupt opponents. She needs to have something. Ticks can horrify and silence. Sherlock can turn people to doves and swap his health with theirs. We need something from Tussilago for her to be a good hero. So let's look at what she brings to the table. First of all, she's super quick, 1232 speed. Alright, that's quicker than Carry. So that means she's probably not going to get disrupted by carries, assuming you want her to do an active skill early. It's still very much possible, but alright, she's quicker than Carry. But she's slower than Forkis. Forkis is coming in at a speed of 1238, so what we don't want is for Tussilago to buff herself, because if she can, she's just going to get punished by Forkis' active skill. So let's go back and keep that in mind for Tussilago. So what does her passives bring? Well, she's got attack plus 30%. That's nice. Crit plus 30%. Alright, great. A chance to crit is nice. Holy damage plus 80%. That's whopping, and that's going to synergize very nicely with Queen. Control immunity plus 30%? Yeah, that's solid. And speed plus 60. Okay, that explains her fast speed stat. There's some good passives. Attack, crit, holy damage, control immunity, all things you'd want from a light assassin. Excellent. So what's this next ability? Dispel the Darkness. Tussilago's basic attack deals 200% of attack damage to the single enemy with the lowest HP. That's not very good. That's one target and 200% of attack? That's not a lot. If the target has Sacred Emblem, she'll deal an additional 200% of attack damage. Okay, that's 400% of attack damage, but only against one target. Okay, Basic attacks have a 100% chance to inflict 1 stack of Sacred Emblem. Alright, so she's going to give a Sacred Emblem to that hero as well. So you better hope this Sacred Emblem does something good. Well, let's read. It's a skill effect that Tussilago's basic attack and active skill deal more damage to enemies marked by Sacred Emblem. Oh, it just means she deals more damage. So far, she just seems like a damage platform. And that's traditionally not very good in PvP. We need some disruption. Can this final passive redeem us? Well, let's read. Whenever an ally deals critical damage, Tussilago restores 200% of attack HP. That's a nice little bit of healing when any of our allies are going to crit against opponents. That's pretty good. Whenever an ally uses an active skill or basic attack, Tussilago also gets a 70% chance to inflict 1 stack of Sacred Emblem. Now that's going to go up as you get her Void enabled. I think it goes up to 80%. And that's to 2 enemies with the lowest HP, so she's going to be spreading them out. So one fun thing you can have is multiple Tussilagos on your team, because it means you'll have more than one Tussilago dishing out these Sacred Emblems, which means you'll have more over the opponents. However, it's always going to be the opponents with the lowest HP. So you could end up just stacking a load on only 2 heroes, so you kind of don't get the joy of spreading them out amongst your opponents. So where does this all come into play? Let's look at Punish the Sinners, her active skill. It selects 2 random enemies, prioritizing enemies with the most stacks of Sacred Emblems. So it's not 2 random enemies at all, it's just the ones that have got the most Sacred Emblems. And it will deal 320% of attack damage. Okay, that's not a lot. It'll deal an extra 320 if they're inflicted with Sacred Emblem. Okay, that's good, so 640, that's okay. And if the target has at least 3 stacks of Sacred Emblem, and you bloody well hope so, it's going to deal an additional 320% of attack. So that's 3 staggered amounts of attacks. That's actually really good for cutting through Unbending Will. So that's nice at least, but 3 separate points of attack? Yeah, it's alright, but it only comes to a total of 960% of attack damage against 2 targets. Let's remind ourselves what Tix and Russell can do. Look at Tix, a massive powerhouse. His active skill is 800% of attack damage against 4 random enemies, so already twice as many. Deals an extra 800% of the target's attack against them, so that's even more damage. Steals their attack, and then also has a 50% chance to inflict them with Silence or Horrify. And that only gets better when he's Void 4. Take a look at my Void 4 Tix, for example, and you'll see this fella gets as much as 1,200% of attack and deals an additional 1,200% of attack, and then there's a 60% chance for the Silence and the Horrify. Nice! Right? That's just great! Tussilago? Nope. Hits half as many enemies for not as much damage. So what's this final thing? This redeeming factor? Well, if the target has 5 stacks of Sacred Emblem, she'll remove all the Sacred Emblems and then deal Divine Retribution. Divine Retribution is a skill effect that deals 1000% of attack damage. This effect does not land a critical hit, so it doesn't crit, which sucks, and the damage it deals is fixed and cannot be reduced or increased by skill effects, attributes, or other buffs. Some people have said this is good. Divine Retribution is the make and break. But it can't crit. That kind of really lets me down. Like, with a hero that can do these great active skills, these great amount of damages, what really pushes them above and beyond is crit and crit damage. Not being able to crit Divine Retribution? It's a bit of a shame. Sure, it's going to help you tear through Unbending Will or just straight up kill enemies, and I guess if she does get an active skill against someone who has 5 stacks of Sacred Emblem, that's going to be very nice. But in today's meta, lots of heroes target the enemy with the lowest HP anyway. So let's say an enemy does have 5 stacks of Sacred Emblems, but then just gets whomped and killed anyway by your Sword Flash Sire or whatever other hero is targeting the lowest HP. Maybe you've got a Drake who puts a black hole mark on them, and before Tussilago even gets an active skill, the black hole mark kills that opponent. So you go into the next round with an active skill that strikes out against other enemies that have got the lowest HP, that then might not even have 5 stacks of Sacred Emblem. And if that's the case, Divine Retribution isn't going to trigger, and you're then going to have to wait more turns for another active skill from Tussilago. That again is going to suck. So I really don't like this, because at the end of the day, everything she does is focused on triggering this Divine Retribution. It's all focused on dishing out Sacred Emblems and letting her basic and active deal more damage. I'm afraid that's just not good enough for a hero. It just isn't. Someone in PvP needs to be disrupting the opponent. It needs to be doing energy steal or CCing them. Even just having a Cruise on there with a receptor that just goes blah, you're all stunned for a round, and then Purify gets rid of it. That's still really good. Maybe there's other disruptions out there and Purify doesn't even get rid of the stun. Even better. Right, Cruise is really disruptive because of that. It wins you tempo, and tempo is how you win. Tempo is what makes you win PvP fights. You have to be quicker and more disruptive than your opponent's team, and you need to stop them from doing what they want to do. You need to respond to your opponent's actions and keep yourself one step ahead. Tussilago doesn't do anything like that. She just tries to brute force her way through to a victory, and I'm afraid in 2021, that's not how you win at PvP. You win through disruption. Tussilago doesn't disrupt. So in my opinion, she's just not a very good PvP hero. And then there's the argument, what if I run multiple Tussilagos? What if I run maybe 2 or 3 to try and increase the chance of Divine Retribution? To that, I say, yeah, sure, go ahead. But at what cost? You only get 6 heroes on your team. Are you really going to be taking 2 slots of that for 2 Tussilagos? I don't really see that being a good idea. You want to keep room in your team for Sherlock, maybe even 2 Sherlocks just to increase the chance you can disrupt your opponent. You might want to stick some Transcendence heroes in there if you've got them. Definitely, Sword Flash and Queen are great picks on your team, if you have them. So if you're looking at a full endgame team, I already want Sherlock on my lineup, I want to have Queen on my lineup, and I want to have Sword Flash on my lineup. So Scarlet Queen Halora, Sword Flash, Sherlock, that's 3 of my heroes already taken up. What else do I want? Well, I want a Forkis to punish people still running Rogans. That's 4 heroes. And you're going to tell me the last 2 are really going to be Tussilagos? I don't really see the point. Sword Flash is a massive damage dealer. Forkis can really sting enemies, and Sherlock can disrupt them. That's great. I just would rather put more disruption on my team. I'd rather run a carry, or a Cruise with a Receptor in strong metas. I'd also rather run an Amun-Ra to get bubbles and then healing curse my opponent. I'd also rather run a Tix, whose active skill hits so hard, and also can horrify and silence opponents, which stops them going off. And if that Tix is quick enough, if he can outspeed a Forkis, then yes, please! I absolutely want to silence that Forkis and stop that active skill. Tussilago doesn't disrupt. She just sits there and goes, poke, haha, I hit you. Did you die? Oh no, you didn't. And she's also really squishy. She doesn't have that much armor. She doesn't have anything in her build that offers damage reduction. She just has to sit there and smack. And okay, give her an Augustus Magic Ball, sure. That might help, but as soon as you're hit by a mark, it's going to snap straight through it. And I'm afraid, for Tussilago, that's just not good enough. So in my opinion, she's not a very viable hero in PvP at all. I'm really disappointed by this because the hero that comes out at Chinese New Year is traditionally a disruptive and fantastic hero for the PvP meta. Tussilago just isn't that, unfortunately. So what does she do? Well, I guess you could use her in broken spaces or things like that. I guess she hits okay damage, but even then, Divine Retribution doesn't scale, and it doesn't land a crit, and it can't be affected by buffs and other effects. So I guess a lot of the ways of increasing damage on your team will not work on Tussilago in PvE. She's not going to be doing as much damage as Ithaca, and Ithaca is a lot easier to build. So are you just going to build a Tussilago for PvE? Hell no. Completely not needed. If you want to do the Void, you just use an Inosuke instead. Use Inosuke cheese. I'm actually going to be making a video about that in the future, so make sure you've hit that subscribe button because that video is going to be coming out very soon, and that'll show you that you don't need a hero like Tussilago to deal damage to opponents because you can just completely cheese your way through a ton of Void Waves by using Inosuke and a Magic Stone Sword. So you won't need a Tussilago for this. She doesn't offer anything to the game. We can already do Seal and Light without her existing, and she just sucks. So what do I think this says about the meta moving forwards? That's the question I want to finish with. Well, it says a lot about DH Games and their vision right now. A Chinese New Year hero that isn't disrupting the meta is a shocker. For the last 3, you could even say 4 years, Chinese New Year has been the biggest changing point in our meta. 2021? That's not the case. Tussilago sucks. So who is going to be this big game changer? Is it Forkis? Well, I'd say yeah, a little bit. Forkis completely drops Russells and punishes teams for using Rogan. That's much needed in the PvP meta. Good for Forkis. Thank you so much, DH Games, for balancing the meta with the release of Forkis. Okay, so if Forkis was the hero then, if Forkis is the big game changer, what have we got for 2021? My prediction is that it's actually going to be Void Asmodel. Void Asmodel is going to be this game changer hero. And that's a shame. But if you look at DH Games' money technique, where do they get their money? Well, during big events like this, no one really cares about heroes. They just care about these rewards. If you look at the Lion Dance, this is where all the good stuff is. And the way to get the good stuff is by spending money. They already know people are saving up scrolls to get new heroes, so to make people spend, they have to entice them with rewards. So they're not even invested in making good heroes anymore, because people are already prepared for them. And they want them to waste all their resources now, and actually it's probably in their best interests to make non-light and dark heroes more powerful, because that'll invest people harder in profit orbs when they become available there, and also it's going to make people feel more invested when they drop in their heroic summon events, and hopefully we'll all be drained out of scrolls and spend our money then too. So that's what probably DH Games have in mind and why they've disappointed us so much with this hero. In addition, one of their strongest revenue sources right now is Transcendence packages, where you can get Cores of Transcendence, use them in the Void once you've got an E5, and by doing that, head over to the Evolution Cube and pick up a Transcendence hero. Transcendence heroes are so strong, and the main disruptors in the PvP meta, and even the PvE metas as well. They can actually do great things there too. And therefore, I genuinely believe that Tussilago was designed to be a bit of a disappointment. I don't think she needed to be good. People were already looking for a reason to spend their scrolls, and the feedback from Christmas was, we don't care about a light or dark hero. We just want to get good rewards. And that definitely seems to be the mindset of people this event. I know a lot of people who've spent scrolls completely disappointed by Tussilago, myself included, just to get the Magic Stone Sword or the Mysterious Artifact Selection Chest that you can pick up this event. That's what we care about now. We just care about rewards. We don't care about heroes. And if DH Games are going to respond to that by releasing not very good heroes, that's just a natural result of our mindset as players. As well, the Void heroes are going to be the ones that make the biggest change, because that's where DH Games' biggest revenue stream is. So if you really want to know the hero that's going to flip this meta, my guess, again, is Void Asmodel. So if you haven't got your 9 Asmodel copies, if you haven't got a nice juicy stack of Transcendence crystals ready to pick this guy up, you're going to probably have to get them pretty soon, or spend a ton of money. And unfortunately, that's always been the nature of this game. It's spend money, or stay behind everybody else. Now, is that a problem? Not really. I think people just need to manage their expectations and just have to deal with what this is. That said, could Tussilago receive a buff? I hope so. She needs it. And if DH Games, you're watching this video, if you want to know how to buff Tussilago, give her some disruption. Give her something that she does outside of her turn. Right? Something that can disrupt the opponent or help the team at least deal more damage. Because right now, all she does is focus on herself. She's a very egotistically built hero. She only benefits herself. She doesn't help the team. She doesn't help anything. And if she doesn't go off, it's a complete waste. She's kind of like the Scary of the Light faction. So to my opinion, she's not a very good hero. She doesn't offer very much. And actually, if you guys don't get her, that's completely fine. It's kind of like Tara last year. If you didn't pick up a copy of Tara, is it going to completely ruin your progress in PvP and PvE? Not at all. I think a lot of us can just skip Tussilago and not feel any negative effects. The only thing you're going to miss out on are the rewards. So to my friends, to the players that want to know if it's worth spending your scrolls this event, well, if you can get yourself a Mysterious Artifact Selection Chest just by spending scrolls and then doing 10,000 gems worth of gift box carnival stuff, then yeah, sure, do it. Go for it. Because that's actually really good value. I'd rather an artifact over a Tussilago. Because at the end of the day, artifacts are forever, and Tussilago is a very brief, insignificant blip in a meta that really doesn't need her. So to that, guys, I say, Tussilago sucks, and the only thing you can do as players is just be happy that you don't need to be forced to build her. The only heroes you're really forced to build right now to stay relevant are Transcendence heroes. And sure, it's going to take a ton of effort and time to pick them up, but with the Void Arc, that might be a little bit easier. So, yeah. That's my feedback on Tussilago. She's not very exciting, and I just don't see it being a hero that's going to transform the meta in any way. So there you go, guys. If you like this content, if you've got any questions about Tussilago, stick them down in the comments section down below. Let me know your thoughts about her and whether you think this is just a disappointment in preparation for us to be amazed by Void Asmodel, because at least that's what I think. And I love to hear your feedback down below. Until next time, happy idle.